Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks again for spending some time with us. We're having our release webinar a week later than usual because last week we were all at the annual users conference in Atlanta. And I see several people on the line today that were there as well, and so we appreciated that time with them. We had a fantastic week. There was a lot of idea sharing and networking, and I think everyone left with a huge to-do list when they got back to the office of things to implement and things to share with their team. And that to-do list, long to-do list, doesn't exclude this ACEware team either. We received a lot of things to add to our wish list to discuss, and we're going to be getting together even this afternoon to take a look at those things. The June release that was full of goodies, these were unveiled at conference. And today, Matthew's going to share them with everyone. For some of you, it's going to be a good review after having such an information overload last week. So while I turn these controls over to Matthew, I want to remind you that if you have a question or a comment for us, you can drop that into the chat box, and Chuck and I can take a look at that, and we can answer those questions or share some with the group where appropriate. So with that, Matthew, are you ready to get started? I see your screen, so it looks like you're ready to share with us.
I am. And I've already pulled up the first screen I wanted to show here. And this is kind of just information here. But the first new goodie is that the character user-defined fields right up here, the first 4 boxes up here under user-defined information, each of those has gotten a little bit wider. Characters 1 and 2 here are 35 characters each. Character 3, or the third box, is 50 characters, and then this last one is now 70 characters. So if you're needing a little bit more room with those, you've now got it. All right, next thing I want to show is under module registration, this new option, mass group registrations, or you can just hit F8 key. Mass group, it asks, let me back up a second here. The idea behind this is to grab a group of registrations or grab a bunch of registrations, and allows you to just to group them all together as you need to. This tool does find people only with balances. So if they've already paid, there's no real need to group them. So yeah, this only shows balanced registrations, including those that have partial balances. So that's the distinction here. I'm going to choose the firm option here, and I've got this split into you can search for a firm. A family is the name grouping on the name screen, and then you can just pull up the registrations for one course. Maybe you've got a sponsored course or something, and they're all getting paid at the same time, and for whatever reason, when you're registering them, you didn't get them all grouped together. You can choose that option. So I'm going to choose firm, so it pulls up the firm find screen, and I can ACEware systems. I've got a bunch of stuff under ACEware systems. So, and this last column shows the grouped status already. So maybe I've got, I've already got several of these grouped, but maybe I want to add to that group. Maybe my registration, Cheryl's registration, and now I want to also include Jason's. By grouping all 3 of these together, it kind of closes the book on the old grouping and creates a new one with these 3 registrations. So I'm going to hit done. process complete. Now if I go look at Jason's edit registration, that's his escrow. This should be, yeah, so here's that new group that I just created with Cheryl and my registrations. So just as easy as that. Okay.
I'm getting comments on that, Matthew, things like happy dance. So people are appreciating that feature.
And I got to give a shout out. This came from a suggestion from Brittany at Auburn University Montgomery. She had the idea of grouping together everybody in a firm or doing the family grouping. Then I got a request from Martin down at University of Central Florida. He wanted to do everybody, mass group everybody into a course, and it's like, well, I'm already doing this for Brittany. I can just add another option for the course, and we'll have that ready by conference, and got it done. So next one, let me pull up another course here. This is on Edit Regis. If I click find here, the new thing is the search from the course find registration now has the firm. So maybe you're trying to look and see the two people from Manhattan Area Technical College. You can now see that from this screen when you're trying to look for those registrations. Okay, and then the next thing, okay, uh-oh, I lost my mouse. Come on. Student manager crashed on me, yay! Log back in. I have no idea what happened there. Okay, so next thing is a new preference, and this is it is a purple registration preference to allow edit of the add date. The reason it's purple is only admins can change this preference. So, well, either admins can be the only ones that change a registration add date if the need ever arises, or they can choose people via the edit preferences and then edit, or not the, let me step back, going to password maintenance, finding somebody that they want, say Bob, and edit their preferences to allow edit of the registration. So either way, an admin has to be involved to do that. But
can I ask a question here while you're talking about this? Is it possible to change the add date for a waitlisted student?
Yeah, any registration. So if I go look up registration, I think I've got Bob Dole is waitlisted here. So if I click in here into the box, well, this is future dated anyway, since this is just my demo, but maybe I want to backdate this to 6/1/2018. You can do that. Now the box does, stay green, so that it's not real intuitive that you can change the date, but just click into the date and it turns white and you can change it. But yeah, that oh, and I've got an issue here where it doesn't automatically allow me to save the change, but if I do something real quick, change it back, now that I can save it. So I will fix that, make a note.
I've got that for you. You can just carry on.
Okay. Next is mass transfer. So let me find my course here I've set up. 13. Okay, so I've got 2 people waiting in this course. If I go to courses, right, mass transfer, the 2 new options is to transfer only canceled or only waitlisted registrations. So maybe I've got another section opening, has one that doesn't count the waitlisted. So if I only waitlisted, I don't know, throw them in next year's section or something. I don't know if that even exists. Oh, it does exist. Okay, good. So if I continue, yes, I've made a backup. So this is only pulling up those 2 waitlisted registrations, and I can transfer those. Actually, I'm going to, why not? Let's just do it. Done. Okay. So now, quit exit. If I look up 19, the conference, my 2 people that I transferred are in here. So that should hopefully make it easier for you when you are wanting to move waitlisted people to a different section when one opens up. Speaking of waitlist, if I go now to my other course that I've got a couple of waitlisted on, the waitlist button here on the course, there's been a couple of additions. Besides being now able to edit the registration note, so for Bob here, I don't know, just whatever. So I can edit the registration note, have that save. I can also, by switching the T, which is true, to a false, I can actually take them off the wait list right from the screen. If I follow the instructions up here of Control F4 to save, notice my waiting is now down to 1. I've got another enrollment here on my student list. Bob Dole is now in an active active status, and there's my registration note that I typed in from the waitlist screen. So that's saved. So quickly edit those 2 items right from the waitlist screen.
I have a question from the audience for you. You did some editing there. Can you also edit the time of registration?
Not from that screen, no. And, well, actually not from the registration screen either.
So no altering of the time of registration at this point.
Correct. Any other questions before I go on?
Not that I'm seeing right now. Carry on.
Great. Okay, so next thing, I'm just going to go to Deadbeat. This is in creating a new query or even editing an old query. Randomly type something. The new thing is when you're on this first step here of selecting the field, and do I have firm on here? Yeah, so if you're wanting to see firm name, well, is that the firm name from the name screen or is that the firm name from the firm screen? Well, if you right click on it now, it tells me names.nmfirm. So that is the firm name from the name screen. So that new feature should help clarify some of these elements that are cross-used on multiple screens. Maybe you've got an area with instructor information is included and you want to make sure that the firm name is actually the instructor firm name. Things like that. So right click on any element and it gives you the table name followed by the actual name of the field that it's pulling from. So I'm going to get out of here. I don't want to save I don't want to save that query because that's useless. Okay, next thing, and this was the big thing at conference. This is the new idea of having unlimited UDFs. I'm going to show you first what it kind of looks like. So if I go, I think my record has information. And on the additional info UDFs page, there's a new button that says additional UDFs. And this is also on the course screen and the registration screen. It brings up this form that is, it's designed to expand as you have more and more items put on to your definition list, and I'll show you how to define unlimited UDFs here in a second. So it's kind of like an HTML document within Student Manager that's expandable and then allows you to put in dates, numeric, have a logical field. Emergency contact fits into a memo field, because you could also have, nothing at AOL who doesn't exist.com. You can have a whole bunch of more information here in emergency contact because it's a nice long memo field. You can also have drop-down lists to define your choices with. So, yeah, unlimited, well, virtually unlimited, or theoretically unlimited. It is database space and hard drive space can restrict us on these. Those of you that are doing a lot of UDFs and you're still on VFP and you're doing this, for years down the road, I could foresee you guys hitting the 2 gig limit on the names table. So if you are that big, probably a good idea to switch to SQL Server. That way you've got a whole lot bigger set of limits with it. And at some point we are going to do a bigger webinar on this, especially after Stein does his part in getting these working for ACEware. We'll get some more information out there for you, and we'll talk more in depth on what those limits actually are and stuff like that. But I want to show you how to define these, and these are through preferences. Go to one of the names, course or register, hit the name UDFs or course UDFs or register UDF button, and you've got another button down here for additional UDFs. And the way these are set up, so if you noticed, I had space in the middle of the names of all of these. Also, each one had a capital at the front on the actual screen. In here, I've got it all lowercase, and I've got it with underscore. You can't have spaces in names. Actually, you can't have pretty much any other character except for underscore. So has instrument question mark is not going to work. When I close and come back in, it's removed. Actually, that killed my entire UDF. What the heck? Okay, so definitely don't do any other symbols other than the underscore. So I'm going to put this back. So as I'm redefining this, so I've got to set a name for it, and that's what's going to show on the screen. It's also going to allow me to use it in Functions, I've got functions set up to pull the UDFs into reports as you need them. So here in this case, I'm doing a Boolean, but you can have character, numeric, date. The memo is that big block of text for your emergency contact or something real big you're wanting to keep track of. The next thing is, so once you've got a type, is the style, and it's 3 options: regular, a drop down, or a memo. Well, Boolean's going to be regular. So my genre here has the drop down style. My memo field has the memo style. So you've got those choices there. With a drop down, you do have to set up a code, and this is just really just internal. You don't well, other than for there is a function that can pull in the drop-down choices, so you might use it there. So something kind of something you can kind of remember, or at least make sense to whatever you're doing. So for movie genre, I've called the drop-down code UDF genre. I just double-click it from here, and it brings me to the code editor screen. So if I do romantic comedy, rom-com, romantic comedy, I can easily set up a new choice in my drop-down for this UDF. So if I actually, I can click find. Here are the other choices in there before I added rom-com. So you can see those, edit those from here if need be. So let me, now that I've made that, we can go look and see. Olson, additional UDFs. There's, well, now that my has instrument got redefined down below, it's been put down here, but here in the drop down, main thing I wanted to show is now my new choice of rom-com is available in here. And actually, I've got something wrong with the width, because it should show me romantic comedy over here to the right. So that's another thing I need to work on.
It's on my list.
What's that?
I put it on the list so you don't have to stop and make notes.
Okay. Oh, I was going to show real quick on quick reports. I've got a report in here. If I modify name, record information, there we go. So emergency contact. So this is one of the functions, and actually it's add then 2-letter designation for the table I'm wanting, and then UNL for unlimited. So add NM unlimited for names, CO for course, RG for reg. Pretty much standard to everything else we do. So here's emergency contact. That, like I said, putting those names all in lowercase for this purpose, I think makes it easier to remember. Because otherwise you have to match the case exactly each and every time, and then you got to remember, okay, did I have capital E, capital C, or some combination? Just leave it all lowercase, and that way you can always pull it. And if I want to see this, Control I, maybe file, print preview. Here's the emergency contact. So I've got Emil Zilch and nothing at AOL.com email address and regular address there. So anyway, this is just a quick overview. Stein is still working on getting this to show on the person page and be able to do supplemental data capture pages so that you can have students enter in information directly from ACEware into the unlimited UDFs and be able to report on that stuff. So I think once he's got that working and we know how it works, we'll be able to have a bigger webinar showing this in detail on how to set it up and go forward. But any questions?
I do have a couple of questions. One of them, when you showed the UDFs in the drop-down box, are you going to have a way for people to set the order that they want those displayed, and what's the logic behind that and how they're displayed? Like if I want to set it alpha order or something, can you talk on that a little bit?
Yeah, it is already in alphabetical order. So rom-com came in right before the S, and after horror, it's already in alphabetical order for you. So it's not order that you enter them in or anything like that. It's automatically alphabetical.
And I think you touched on this already. When you have all of these additional UDFs, they're going to be in the supplemental data fields, correct? Supplemental data?
Yeah.
You'll collect that in ACEware as supplemental data. Okay?
Yeah, either supplemental data capture or on the create
page.
Jason, were you making a comment there? I thought I heard several voices. No?
If I understood your question, you were asking on the ACEware side, is it just limited to the supplemental data capture? It would be that and the sign-up page, the person.awp, that would support the unlimited UDFs.
So create a new account or edit account information.
Okay, very good. And UDFs, unlimited UDFs, are not replacing the data capture pages, right? The HTML data capture pages. This is in addition to.
Correct.
Okay. And some of these questions we will certainly, if you have questions now or if you think of them after the webinar, send them our way. And when we plan the big webinar, we can address all of that when we do the nitty-gritty how-to webinar. What else, Matthew? What else? This was a biggie. You're getting lots of applause, and outstanding, and looking forward to it. The big question, folks, that I'm seeing is, when can we have this in our hands? And like Matthew mentioned, Stein is still doing some work on his side. And once he's done, we need to hand this off to Jason to do some testing. And so we'd be hopeful by the end of the month, if all goes well, before Stein leaves on vacation. But we won't send this out until Jason gives us a thumbs up on that. That's kind of where we are right now. So, Jason, did you have anything you wanted to mention on the ACEware side? Last month, 50 was released, and that was a big one with Storm, with the Student Online Report Manager. That was big, and there's an entire webinar on that. Jason, did you want to speak to anything? We know that for 51, you're working on this, getting the unlimited UDFs and ACEware. Anything else you want to share with the group?
That was pretty much it. The big thing for 50 was, again, the student online reporting module. A couple of fixes. We put in a bunch of patches for some vulnerabilities that were found on ACEware. So meeting those OAuth top 10 scanning requirements, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, lots of those issues and vulnerabilities have been patched. So make sure you get with your tech and get updated to version 50. And just keep your eyes on the horizon for 51, which will have support for the unlimited UDFs on data capture and the sign-up page.
But if you just need them for manager, That's already shipped. That's what came out Monday in this 064 build that was posted on Monday. So you can start playing with them.
Okay, very good. With some closing comments, I am reminding you all to sign up for next week's webinar. Matthew, as his birthday gift to us, is going to share about reporting for the membership, for membership courses. So as you register for that, you'll be asked a question about what you'd like to see in reports, or what you wish you had in reports, or what you've been looking for in reports and can't find it. So those things will help Matthew as he refines that session for next week. And we also want to wish Chuck a wonderful trip. He's going to be out of the country for the next couple weeks, taking a much-deserved vacation, and we'll all be thinking about him and excited to hear his trip report when he gets back. So since I am not seeing, let me take one more look at questions. I am not seeing any additional questions, so we'll wish you all a great afternoon and enjoy the upcoming weekend, and we hope to see you all next week. Bye-bye.